Hello, my name is Benjamin Williams, and this is my training PowerPoint presentation for class MGT 440, taught by Professor Jeremy Doyle. So why train? Training is not just for athletes and has its place in every activity that requires a level of skill. This includes the workplace. In this presentation, you will get a better understanding of how to navigate around many obstacles a project manager might encounter in their field of work. These obstacles include project closeout, internal factors, cross-cultural considerations and understandings, as well as project management skills. This presentation will also cover Project Management Institute certification programs, or PMIs. First, on this training PowerPoint, we will be looking at project closeouts. Depending on how one categorizes a project closeout, there's roughly 5 steps to closing a project. The first step being looking back, the second step being finishing up documents, followed by dissolving team and resources, storing records and documents, and applauding/congratulating team members, and all who were involved. Each one of these steps will have many more actions they require to get done, but in general, this acts as a checklist for project managers. All these steps are important in their own right. For example, looking back at steps might seem insignificant, but can offer some value insight to the whole project. This information can then be used to avoid future mistakes in other projects that might be, or other difficulties and complexities. These steps are mostly dependent on the team and project. Without them helping to push the idea of keeping together a capable team, project closeout would not be achievable. The importance of looking back. Some might ask, what is the importance of looking back? Well, looking back can teach many different lessons. These lessons are often missed during the project. Looking back on the project also allows the project manager to give recognition where it is needed and where it might be needed, as well as where they might be able to grow and improve on in the future for both themselves and for other teammates and team members. Looking back on a project gives the team involved a valuable insight that they might have otherwise missed out on. Once a project is done, it can remove some of the blind spots certain team members might have had earlier on the project. Looking and recognizing what might have been done better is one of the best ways to improve on future projects for everyone. Looking and recognizing what was done well is equally as important, as it shows appreciation and recognition of hard work for everybody on the team and shows what should be continued down the line and what works for the future. One of the first steps to closing a project is finishing up documents. Finishing up documents has a couple steps in its own right. Some of these steps being approval or getting approval from stakeholders on certain documents and papers, taking care of final payments, funds that you might own to, let's say, contractors or other outside resources, and closing all contracts to contractors. Finishing up documents is a very important aspect of closing any project and involves a couple tasks. Once the project is done, all documents and papers will need to be taken care of. This means shareholders will need to be present to sign off on the project, while contractors and third-party vendors will also need their final checks and invoices. Team members and other employees who are involved will also need their paperwork taken care of and their final paychecks around this time. Dissolving a team and resources. This can be considered just about the final step besides celebrating and is done once a project is finished, and resources and teams must be dissolved. After a project is finished, the project manager and their team will have accomplished their goal together and can now go their separate ways. Assuming all paperwork is finished and completed, the team will go their separate ways as their contracts state and conclude. During this time, other resources besides the team will also be let go as contracts have been ended, meaning funding is no longer available nor needed. During this time, it might be in the project manager's best interest as well as other team best interests to write down particularly outstanding team members for future projects and to keep their names around for future projects. Storing records. Although storing records can seem to be a mundane and kind of boring task, records can hold so much information for later use. Therefore, it's often recommended and an important part of the process and should be done correctly to allow for easy use in future access. Storing records is one of the most important tasks that can be done and is done often badly, if not given the proper effort. Records should include many of the things the project manager and their team learned while working on the project. Records also keep legal information and know who is who and who they work for. Although this information can be useful in the future, it can even act as a type of reference, allowing managers to see what they might have done in the past on similar projects or what they might want to do differently on this project. Overall, records are a valuable piece of information. Applauding and congratulating the team. This step has many benefits, possibly one of the most important being cultivating a long-lasting impression on others and closing the project on a good note. Applauding/congratulating the team is one of the most important steps. Although it is similar to the first step in some ways, ending the project on a good note helps everyone involved feel more accomplished and helps to bring the project to a close mentally. A project manager should always strive to make their team feel seen, and this is one of the best ways to do it. Ending the project with a celebration or party or other form of get-together is a great way of keeping a good connection while also having a good time before moving on and starting the next project. Solutions for dealing with challenges common in project management closeout. Some common problems that can occur while working on closeout are losing track of certain files or papers needed and forgetting to finish a step all the way through. This issue can mostly be solved with the use of a good checklist and checklist program. The reason for checklists is to make sure all appropriate steps are taken care of in order to ensure the project is successful all the way through. Creating checklists will serve as a sort of insurance of sorts to help make sure the stakeholders' needs and tasks are met. Team members and clients should all take care of the checklist and frequently check up on it as needed. Creating one of these lists can be simple and done, as there are many templates available for free on the internet that cover many different aspects. Hypothetical problem/example. Let's say a project manager notices something's off with the program keeping track of the list during closeout. What should they and their team do to fix this issue? Once the problem is noted, the project manager and team should call up a meeting. This meeting should be focused on what happened to the checklist, such as when it was last updated and did it malfunction, or was this a human error? Once the problem is determined, the team can then track and focus on completing the list as accurately as possible. Once this has been resolved, the team and manager should continue to keep an eye on the checklist and look for errors as they might occur, or the same problem might occur later if the problem isn't solved at its root early on. International factors and cross-cultural considerations in project management. Projects that encompass a variety of different peoples can be challenging for many, but rewarding once the right steps are taken to rebuild teamwork. International considerations and cross-cultural considerations in project management are an important part of any project that is dealing with international borders. When dealing with this type of project, it is part of the project manager's job to do their best in order to make sure the work environment remains professional and understanding to all those involved in the project. This can be achieved in a variety of different ways. Some of these ways can be done such as doing different exercises and educating both sides on how the other's cultures and traditions are. However, it is important that these exercises are done in the right way to encourage trust and teamwork. Challenges, common pitfalls, and/or opportunities for growth and improvement. Challenges that may arise when working with international groups. Some of these challenges may include language barriers, cultural barriers, as well as time difference challenges. There are many possible difficulties when working internationally with other contractors and businesses. Some common problems are broadly being language, cultural, and time differences. Each one of these challenges can be worked with, though, and used as a learning experience for both the project manager and their team members who are native to their region. By doing exercises like games and learning programs to release some of the language barriers and improve trust and teamwork, opportunities for improvement can be made. This progress is only achievable if everybody is comfortable with each other, allowing for a project to move forward as smoothly as possible in the future. Solutions for dealing with challenges common in international project management. There are a variety of methods that can be used when dealing with a group of different nationalities and cultures as a project manager. Establish an understanding that pushes for accepting and acknowledging the other side's views is part of this process and a vital part into helping both groups understand each other. One of the ways the project manager can do this is by encouraging their team to research and ask appropriate questions only in order to get an understanding of how the other part of the world that they are working with operates and functions. If both cultures are in the same location, exercises like team building can help force people to be social and think together in situations that might require it. Other events to help with a good interaction would be an event that shows off hosting that country's culture. Showing off that country's culture would be a great way to make everybody feel welcome and to get everybody used to the food and customs and language of this place. Hypothetical / problem and example. Rick has been assigned project manager for an international construction project in the country of Mexico. Rick, however, is worried his local U.S. team might have trouble understanding and communicating with the native Spanish-speaking Mexico team. What should he do? Rick should first establish a base exercise that can be understood easily by both parties and that works on trust building. This team exercise should include aspects that help push understanding of one another, such as going over basic terms both of these cultures might know and establishing other ways of small communication, such as symbols or gestures, appropriate ones of course. Both cultures should also encourage the research of others, such as their work schedule and cultural ideas, to be as effective as possible in the work environment. Through all this, it's important to keep in mind that although many might not agree with the other's culture and way of things, it's important to be respectful and courteous in order to keep a work environment professional and pleasant. Agile project management. Agile project management, like it sounds, places a higher importance on being flexible, and agile, allowing for the project to achieve its goals in a different way and at a different time that a traditional means of management might allow. In order to achieve its goals, agile project management will focus on many small aspects of the project, putting them in order of value to the project, staying with the agile ethos of its name and style of management will also make change. This style of management will also make more frequent changes than other methods due to the way things are worked out on this style. This is more feasible. To help bring all this together, agile management also promotes and relies on good cooperation, keeping track of different small tasks working towards one large goal. Challenges and prospects for improvement. Agile project management is not without its challenges. Some of these common challenges are lack of communication and lack of proper planning. Proper planning is a big part of any method of project management. This method uses a slightly different approach, although as it plans but remains flexible and fluid. The reason for the plans to adapt easily, or for the need for the plans to adapt easily, is because the number of changes and adjustments that might be needed to be made in this type of planning. If the plan is not flexible enough, the order of which things need to be done might not be as effective, reducing the benefits of using the agile management method in the first place. Solutions for dealing with challenges common in agile project management. Solutions include meetings, good communication, proper organization, and records keeping. As mentioned before, agile management relies heavily on being flexible, which can only work when having good communication. It is important when using the agile approach to always keep good communication with the use of programs. Besides programs, regular meetings should be used to ensure everyone is on the same page and ready to go if any mistakes are made. Without this constant checking for problems and mistakes, the project could easily get lost in itself. As one can imagine, this can easily set the project behind, resulting in a higher stress level for everyone, including the team, stakeholders, and project manager. Relevant Project Management Institute (PMI) certification programs. The first PMI certification program listed here is the Disciplined Agile Scrum Master, or DASM certification. The Disciplined Agile Scrum Master, or DSM certification, is a relevant certification that focuses on the basics of agile project management. To get this certification requires one to understand the basics of agile and lean principles, how to use these principles, and how to apply these principles with the methods of agile project management. After one has gotten more familiar with agile project management, they can enroll to be an Agile Certified Practitioner, or PMI ACP. This certification requires a couple fundamentals beforehand, but is a more advanced understanding of agile management and goes more in depth. This is why it is important to have some prerequisites before attempting this certification. Conclusion. In this PowerPoint, we covered project closeout, international factors and cross-cultural considerations in project management, agile project management, relevant project management institute PMI certification programs. This presentation covered many of the different aspects of project management. Each one of these aspects is an important skill that project managers can use to broaden their skill base and understand their own projects. Knowing how to do a project closeout is essential for finishing any project correctly, while understanding how to handle different backgrounds and cultures is another important skill that can open many opportunities for an individual and their company. Agile project management is a different approach, but allows for a more flexible and personable approach. Acquiring different PMI certifications is also a great way to obtain knowledge while also increasing your marketability as a project manager.